Hola, muchas gracias, Emilia, and hello, everyone. Greetings from Canada. Should start off by saying Happy Earth Day to everybody as well. The situation in Canada around COVID-19 has been developing a little later than certainly Asia, Europe, and some other parts of the world. In our province of Ontario, our public health emergency was declared back on March 18th, and in the city of Kitchener on March the 25th. And at this point, we're planning at least until May the 12th, but maybe longer, depending on how health outcomes continue to develop. This obviously, like everywhere else, has had a profound impact in terms of the closure of essentially everything non-essential, including our theaters, our sporting facilities, and so on, that we've had to respond to, and has had a significant impact on especially artists, performing artists, and so on, whose income literally went to zero virtually overnight. We've been fortunate that we've had a federal government that understands the issues associated with this, and basically has created a program where anybody whose income has been nothing more than $1,000 a month has been eligible for funding from the federal government in terms of a temporary salary or basic income of $2,000 a month, which is certainly helping those in the arts and culture sector get through the initial phases of the crisis. As we start exploring on beyond COVID and what does it mean, based on best practices, we also see ourselves phasing in the reintroduction or reopening of our communities and of society. And that in particular is going to have an impact on large gathering places and on things like festivals, public squares, and so on. It's opening up many questions that we haven't had to deal with before. So for example, in the future, and particularly in the transition phase between where we're at now and let's say 12 to 18 months from now when a vaccine might be available for COVID-19, are we going to be, in some of our larger performing arts centers, in our arena that hosts our hockey team and so on with 8,000 spectators, are we going to be introducing temperature checks? Are we going to be introducing things like required masking? Are we going to have to limit the number of seats that are available going forward? And so these are difficult policy and budgetary questions that we're grappling with as we look forward. Our federal government has created a $500 million fund for the arts and culture and entertainment sectors. The details of that haven't been released yet, but it'll be focused around not-for-profit, sports organizations, production houses, publishers, entertainers, and so on. And so we're anxious to see what the details of that will be to support that critical industry in our communities. In my own municipality, we're looking at a variety of ideas of things that perhaps we can start to explore both during COVID and after. One of the things that's been really interesting right now is we launched a Kitchener Says Thanks initiative, which has been through music concerts twice a week, one focused on children, one on all ages. It's a way for the city to support local entertainers and also to bring the community together to say thank you to those working in the healthcare sector, first responders, and those working in the service industry that are keeping our communities alive at this point in time. But more long-term and coming out of COVID, we're really looking at a few things. Number one, are there ways of developing and supporting alternate ways of presenting performing arts? So can we develop an online infrastructure to support more digital performances and an extensive network to drive audience participation in these kinds of virtual events? Our provincial government has also set some money aside for this initiative, and so we'll be engaging in that in the coming weeks. Secondly, working with things like
1 minute to go, Treasurer. Thank you.
We're looking at, with our museums and galleries, digitizing their collections rather, and creating programming content that would open up to vast audiences the assets that they have. Thirdly, reanimating our community and public spaces. So instead of making them something that always brings large groups of people together, can we do more in terms of public art interventions that are more passive in nature than large events that would allow smaller groups of people to come and enjoy at different points in time? And lastly, looking at the sector from an economic development point of view, and are there some industry-specific business and professional development training that we can provide through our small business center? As an example, our new manager that we have looking after our public, our film and music industry is developing some programming that will support musicians, that will develop their craft and revenue streams while performances and touring aren't possible. So these are some of the ideas, Amelia, that we're looking at here in Canada, some at the municipal level, but also with the support of our provincial and federal government, and certainly our National Association, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, is involved in that as well. So thank you for the opportunity to share this over a few minutes.